What you're about to see is the most accurate cinematic portrayal of the biblical Genesis you've ever encountered. This narrative is drawn directly from the Hebrew text and preserves the mystery of the original scriptures without offering simplified or ready-made answers. Prepare yourself to witness the entire story of Genesis, told as it was written, sacred, unfiltered, and unlike anything you'll find elsewhere. This is the complete story of Genesis. In the hush before hours were counted, Elohim called the beginning forth. Heavens arched over an unshaped earth, the deep veiled in darkness. The spirit of Elohim hovered like a tremor over waters without shore. A breath poised above the abyss. Then the word broke the silence. Let light be, and light burst out like dawn from nothing. Elohim saw the light, good, and parted brightness from the shadowed deep. He named the shining day and the shrouded veil night, and evening folded into morning. Day one. Again the voice, let an expanse be, and the sky unfurled, a vast blue tent in the midst of waters. The waters were divided, below to their basins, above to their chambers, by the firm sweep of the expanse. Elohim called the arching expanse heavens, a high canopy over the world to be. Evening sank, morning rose, the rhythm set like a heartbeat. The second day, and the airy vault watched, awaiting the ground's unveiling. Let the waters under the heavens be gathered, and the seas drew together in gleaming accords. Dry ground shouldered up from the depths, its naked ridges named land, its gathered brilliance named seas. Elohim saw good and summoned the earth to green itself with living seed. Herbage rose, seed within seed, and fruit trees bent with promise after their kind. Evening and morning braided their cords again, the third day. Let luminaries be, and the dome received its watchmen for signs and seasons, for days and circling years. The greater light was set to govern the day, the lesser to keep the night, and the stars were flung like sparks from the Maker's hand. Elohim placed them in the heavens to give light upon the earth, to rule the hours and divide brightness from dark. He looked, and it was good, a clock of fire inscribed upon the sky. Evening flowed into morning, the fourth day. Let the waters swarm, and the seas writhed with life, great leviathans turning their hidden bulk in jeweled currents. Wings beat against the blue, flyers crossing the face of the expanse, every kind quickened to its niche. Elohim blessed them. Be fruitful and increase. Fill the seas. Let the sky be alive with flight. Scales flashed, feathers stirred. The world learned motion and sound. Evening hushed, morning answered. The fifth day. Let the earth bring forth, and it did, beasts of pasture, creatures that creep, and the strong-limbed animals of the land, each after its kind. Elohim saw good, and then a higher counsel sounded in the quiet. Let us make humanity in our image, according to our likeness. So Elohim created humanity in his image. In the image of Elohim he created it. Male and female he created them. He gave them sway over fish and bird, over herd and field, over every creature that moves upon the earth. Elohim blessed them. Be fruitful and increase. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule with care over all I have made. And behold, he said, I have given you every seed-bearing herb upon all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit for your food. To the beasts and to the birds, and to every creeping thing in which is a living soul, he gave all green herbage for food. The earth answered with meadow and grove, leaf and grain, as provision spread like a table set for all breathing things. Elohim looked upon all he had made, light and sea, wing and hoof, seed and soul, and behold, very good. Evening folded into morning, and the work of 6 days came to rest in goodness. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their array stood complete.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and
Parted into 4 streams, Pishon that circles Havilah, rich with gold and onyx, Gihon that winds through the land of Cush, Hiddekel flowing east of Ashur and the Euphrates in its broad course. Yahweh Elohim set the man in Eden to serve it and to guard it. He spoke to him, saying, "From every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day you eat of it, dying you shall die." Then Yahweh Elohim said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper fit for him." Every beast of the field and bird of the heavens he brought before the man to see what he would name them, and each received its name from his lips. Yet among them no helper was found as his complement. So Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man. And as he lay in slumber, he took one from his side and closed the flesh in its place. From that part he built a woman and brought her to the man. And the man said, "At last, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." The man and his wife were naked together, yet felt no shame, clothed in innocence and light. Now the serpent, more subtle than any beast of the field that Yahweh Elohim had made, wound its way among the branches. Its voice, silken and coiled, spoke to the woman. "Did Elohim indeed say, 'You shall not eat from every tree of the garden'?" The woman answered, her gaze steady yet uncertain, "From the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat, but of the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, 'You shall not eat it, nor touch it, lest you die.'" Then the serpent whispered, its words a shadow, "You shall not surely die. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. The woman looked upon the tree. Its fruit glistened with promise, fair to the sight, stirring a deep hunger for wisdom. She reached forth, plucked, and ate. She gave also to her husband beside her, and he ate. At once their eyes were opened. They knew they were naked. In haste they sewed fig leaves together, girding themselves with frail coverings. Then they heard the sound of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the wind of the day. Fear seized them, and they hid among the trees. "Adam, where are you?" called Yahweh Elohim. The man answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." "Who told you that you were naked?" asked the voice. "Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you not to eat?" The man said, "The woman you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." Yahweh Elohim turned to the woman. "What is this you have done?" She replied, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Then Yahweh Elohim said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all beasts. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall strike his heel." To the woman he said, "I will greatly multiply your sorrow and the pangs of your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." To the man he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, 'You shall not eat of it,' cursed is the ground because of you. In sorrow you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth to you. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for from it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." The man called his wife's name Eve, for she was the mother of all living. And Yahweh Elohim, in mercy, made garments of skin and clothed them. Then Yahweh Elohim said, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now lest he stretch out his hand and also take from the tree of life and eat and live forever." So Yahweh Elohim drove the man from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. At the east of the garden, he stationed cherubim and the flaming sword, turning every way to guard the path to the tree of life. The man knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore a son, saying, "I have acquired a man through Yahweh." She bore again, and his brother Abel was born. Abel tended the flock, while Cain worked the ground. When the days came full, Cain brought an offering to Yahweh from the fruit of the soil. Abel also brought firstlings from his flock, with their fat portions. And Yahweh looked with favor on Abel and his gift. But Cain and his offering found no regard, and Cain's face fell, his anger burning like coals. Yahweh said to him, "Why is your anger hot, and why is your face downcast? If you do well, will you not be lifted up? But if you do not, sin crouches at the door. Its desire is for you, yet you must rule over it." But Cain spoke to Abel his brother, and when they were in the field, he rose against him and struck him down. Abel's blood darkened the ground, and silence lay heavy on the earth. Then Yahweh said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" He answered, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And Yahweh said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground. Now cursed are you from the soil, that has received your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall yield no strength to you. A wanderer you shall be on the earth." Cain said to Yahweh, "My guilt is too great to bear. Today you drive me from the soil, and I am hidden from your face. A fugitive and wanderer I will be. Anyone who finds me will kill me." Yet Yahweh said, "Not so. Whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken sevenfold." And Yahweh placed a sign upon Cain, so that no one who found him would slay him. Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. There Cain's wife bore a son, Enoch, and Cain built a city, naming it after his son. From Enoch came Irad, from Irad Mehujael, from Mehujael Methushel, and from him Lamech. Lamech took 2 wives, Adah and Zillah. From Adah came Jabal, father of those who dwell in tents and herd cattle, and his brother Jubal, father of those who play harp and flute. Zillah bore Tubal Cain, forger of bronze and iron, and his sister was Naamah. Lamech boasted to his wives, "Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. I have slain a man for striking me, a youth for wounding me. If Cain is avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold." Adam again knew his wife, and she bore a son, calling his name Seth. "For Elohim has appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew," she said. To Seth also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. Then men began to call on the name of Yahweh. Through time, fathers and sons, blessing and death, until the Ark of Hope was born in Noah. When humanity multiplied upon the face of the ground and daughters were born to them, the sons of the Elohim, the Benai Elohim, looked and saw that they were fair. They took wives for themselves. So Yahweh spoke to Noah, "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. Behold, I am about to destroy them with the earth. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood. Fashion it with rooms, and cover it within and without with pitch. 300 cubits its length, 50 cubits its width, 30 cubits its height. Make it with lower, second, and third decks, and set a door in its side. Narrow to a cubit at the top shall you finish it. Behold, I myself am bringing a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh under heaven, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is in the earth shall perish, but I will establish my covenant with you. You shall enter the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. From every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of each, male and female, to keep alive with you. Birds according to their kind, beasts according to their kind, creeping things according to their kind, 2 of each shall come to you. Gather food of every kind to sustain you and them." And Noah did all that Yahweh Elohim commanded him. He did so, just as he was told. Then Yahweh said to Noah, "Come, you and all your household into the ark, for I have seen you righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast take 7 pairs, male and female. Of the beasts not clean, 2, the sire and his mate. Of the birds of the heavens also 7 by 7, to keep seed alive upon the earth. For in 7 days I will cause rain to fall upon the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the ground every living thing that I have made." Noah did all that Yahweh Elohim commanded him. He was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth. Noah entered the ark with his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, his wife, and the wives of his sons, because of the rising waters. Beasts, clean and unclean, birds, and every creeping thing came to him, pair by pair, male and female, just as Elohim had commanded. After 7 days, the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the deluge began. Rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and on that very day, Noah and his household entered the ark. With them came every living creature according to its kind, wild beasts, domestic animals, creeping things, and birds of every wing. All flesh in which was the breath of life entered, male and female, as Elohim had spoken. Then Yahweh shut the door about him. The waters surged for 40 days, lifting the ark high above the earth. They gained mastery, swelling greatly, until even the mountains under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward the waters rose, and the peaks disappeared beneath the flood. All flesh perished, bird, beast, creeping thing, and humankind, everything that breathed the breath of life upon dry ground. Only Noah remained, and those with him in the ark. And the waters held sway over the earth 150 days. Elohim remembered Noah and every beast and bird with him in the ark. He sent a wind over the earth, and the waters began to retreat. The fountains of the abyss were sealed, the windows of heaven closed, and the rain was restrained. The waters ebbed and flowed, withdrawing steadily until, after 150 days, they abated. In the 7th month, on the 27th day, the ark came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to diminish until the 10th month. On the 1st day of that month, the peaks of the mountains appeared like islands rising from a new world. After 40 days, Noah opened a window of the ark and sent out a raven. It went back and forth until the waters were dried from the land. Then he sent forth a dove to see if the ground had emerged, but she found no place to rest, for waters still covered the earth, and she returned to him. Noah reached out, took her in his hand, and brought her back into the ark. He waited 7 days more, and sent the dove again. At evening she returned, and behold, a torn olive leaf was in her beak. Noah knew the waters had receded. He waited yet another 7 days, and sent her out once more, and she did not return. In the 601st year of Noah's life, on the first day of the first month, the waters were dried from the land. Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was firm beneath the sun. Then Yahweh spoke to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife, your sons and their wives. Bring out every living creature with you, beast, bird, and creeping thing, so they may swarm upon the earth. Be fruitful and multiply." So Noah came out, with his household and all living things, each according to its kind. Noah built an altar to Yahweh, and took of every clean beast and bird, offering them in ascent upon the stones. Yahweh smelled the soothing fragrance, and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of man, though the bent of his heart is evil from youth. Never again will I strike down all living flesh as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease."
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind.
Who went out from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. From these three the earth was repopulated. Noah, a man of the soil, planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk, lying uncovered within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it upon their shoulders, and walking backward, they covered their father without looking upon his shame. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew what had been done, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers. Blessed be Yahweh, the Elohim of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May Elohim enlarge Japheth, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. All his days were 950 years. Then he died.
These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, sons born to them after the flood, from whom the nations of the earth were spread. From Japheth came Gomer, Magog, Madai, Java, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. From Gomer came Ashkenaz, Ripah, and Togarmah. From Java came Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodah. From these the coastland spread across their territories, each by family, by tongue, and by nation. From Ham came Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Cush fathered Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. And Ramah fathered Sheba and Dedan. From Cush was born Nimrod, first to be mighty upon the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore it was said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Yahweh. The first cities of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land, Asher went out and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Resen, between Nineveh and Calah, the great city. Mizraim fathered the Ludim, Anakim, Lehem, Naphtali, Bethusim, Casluhim, Philistines, Canaan fathered Sidon, from him descended the Jebusites, Ammonites, Girgashites, Hivites, Arkites, Sidonites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. From there the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. Their boundaries stretched from Sidon toward Gerar, as far as Gaza, and eastward toward Sodom, Gomorrah, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off and knowing I gotta make it.
The sons of Shem
every
were
day to
Elam,
taste it. I'm
Asher,
patient, but my mind, it can
Arphaxad,
hardly
Lud,
take it. I'm
and Aram.
chasing a dream that
The
I've
sons
had
of
for
Aram
several
were
ages of
Uz,
vacant. Modern
Hul,
kingdom
Gether,
for the
and
taking.
Mash. Arphaxad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan fathered Almodad, Shelah, Azarmaveth, Jerah, Hadarah, Uzal, Dinah, Uval, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Joah, all the sons of Joktan. Their dwelling was from Mesha towards Sephar, the hill country of the east. These were the sons of Shem, by family, by tongue, by land, and by nation. Thus, these are the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, by their nations. From them the nations were divided upon the earth after the flood. The whole earth spoke one tongue and shared one speech. As men journeyed eastward, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. They said one to another, "Come, let us mold bricks and burn them hard." Brick became their stone, and bitumen their mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build a city, and a tower with its top in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But Yahweh descended to see the city and the tower which the sons of men were building. And Yahweh said, "Behold, they are one people, and all have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. Nothing they plan will be withheld from them. Come, let us descend and confound their speech, so that they may not understand one another's tongue." So Yahweh scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, for there Yahweh confused the language of the whole earth, and from there he scattered them abroad.
These are the generations of Shem. 2 years after the flood, Shem was 100 years old and fathered Arphaxad. He lived 500 years more and had other sons and daughters. Arphaxad begot Canaan. Canaan begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. From them came Roi, Serug, Nahor, and Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. But Haran died before his father Terah, in Ur of the Chaldeans, the land of his birth. Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. Then Terah took Abram his son, Lot the son of Haran, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and they set out together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they dwelt there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Another altar to Yahweh, and there he called upon the name of Yahweh. Then Abram journeyed on in stages toward the Negev. But famine struck the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe. As he approached Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, "I know you are a woman beautiful in appearance. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but let you live. Say, I pray, that you are my sister, so that it may go well with me because of you, and my life will be spared on your account." When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that Sarai was very beautiful. Pharaoh's officials saw her, praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his house. For her sake, Abram was treated well. He acquired sheep and cattle, donkeys, servants, and camels. But Yahweh afflicted Pharaoh and his household with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh summoned Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She is my sister,' so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go." Pharaoh gave orders to his men, and they sent Abram away with his wife and all that he had, and Lot went with him. Abram went up from Egypt toward the Negev with his wife, all his possessions, and Lot beside him. He was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. From place to place he journeyed until he came again to Bethel, to the spot between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had first been pitched, where he had built an altar before. There Abram called upon the name of Yahweh. Lot also, who journeyed with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. But the land could not sustain them dwelling together. for their possessions were so great that they could not remain side by side. Strife arose between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock, and at that time the Canaanite and the Perizzite were also dwelling in the land. Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no quarrel between me and you, nor between my shepherds and yours, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you go to the left, I will go to the right, and if you go to the right, I will go to the left." Lot lifted his eyes and saw the whole plain of the Jordan, well watered everywhere, like the garden of Yahweh, like the land of Egypt, as far as Zoar. So Lot chose for himself the Jordan plain and journeyed eastward. Thus the two men separated, each from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, while Lot pitched his tents among the cities of the valley, moving near to Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against Yahweh. After Lot had parted from him, Yahweh said to Abram, "Lift up your eyes from where you stand, and look north, south, east, and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and to your seed forever. I will make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your seed also could be counted. Rise, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I will give it to you." So Abram moved his tent and came to dwell among the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron. There he built. In the days of Amraphel king of Shinar, Arioch king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer king of Elam, and Tidal king of nations, war broke out against Bera king of Sodom, Bersha king of Gomorrah, Shinab king of Admah, Shemeber king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. 5 kings stood against 4 in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. For 12 years the cities had served Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, he and his allies swept through the land, striking the Rephaim, the Zuzim, the Emim, and the Horites as far as Seir, and turning back to smite the Amalekites and Amorites at Hazezon Tamar. Then the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, of Admah, Zeboim, and Bela marched forth to battle. Yet the vale of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some fell into the pits, and the rest escaped to the hills. The invaders seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, all their food, and carried away Lot, Abram's kinsman, who was dwelling in Sodom, with all his possessions. A fugitive came and told Abram the Hebrew, who dwelt by the oaks of Mamre the Amorite, confederate with Eshcol and Aner. When Abram heard that his kinsman was taken captive, he mustered 318 trained men of his household and pursued as far as Dan. By night he divided his forces, struck down his foes, and pursued them to Hobah, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods, and also brought back Lot, his goods, the women and the people. As Abram returned from victory, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, the king's valley. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of El Elyon, brought forth bread and wine. He blessed Abram, saying, "Blessed be Abram by El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be El Elyon, who has delivered your enemies into your hand." Abram gave him 1/10 of all. Then the king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the people, but take the goods for yourself." But Abram said, "I lift my hand to Yahweh El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread or a sandal strap or anything that is yours, lest you should say, 'I have made Abram rich.' Nothing for me except what the young men have eaten, and the share of Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, who went with me, let them take their portion." After these things, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision. "Do not fear, Abram. I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward." But Abram answered, "My Lord Yahweh, what will you give me? I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. You have given me no seed, and so a servant born in my house will inherit all." Then the word of Yahweh came to him, "This man shall not be your heir. Your own son from your own body shall be your heir." Yahweh brought him outside and said, "Look toward the heavens and count the stars. If you are able to number them, so shall your seed be." Abram believed in Yahweh, and it was reckoned to him as righteousness. Yahweh said to him, "I am Yahweh who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to inherit it." Abram asked, "My Lord Yahweh, how shall I know that I will possess it?" Yahweh said, "Bring me a heifer 3 years old, a goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." Abram brought them all, cut the animals in two, and laid each half opposite the other. But the birds he did not divide. Birds of prey came down upon the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. As the sun was setting, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. Dread and great darkness fell upon him. Yahweh said, "Know this for certain. Your seed shall be strangers in a land not their own, enslaved and afflicted 400 years. But I will judge the nation they serve, and afterward they shall come out with great possessions. You shall go to your fathers in peace, buried in a good old age. And in the 4th generation your descendants shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete." When the sun had set and night was deep, behold, a smoking furnace and a blazing torch passed between the pieces. On that day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your seed I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates, the Kenite, the Kenizzite, the Cadmonite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Rephaim, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Girgashite, and the Jebusite." Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. Yet she had an Egyptian maidservant, and her name was Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, "Behold now, Yahweh has restrained me from bearing children. Go in to my maid. Perhaps I shall be built up through her." Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. After 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai took Hagar, her Egyptian maid, and gave her to Abram as a wife. He went into Hagar, and she conceived. When she saw that she was pregnant, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Then Sarai said to Abram, "My wrong be upon you. I gave my maid into your bosom, and now that she sees she is pregnant, I am despised before her. May Yahweh judge between you and me." Abram said to Sarai, "Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her what is good in your eyes." So Sarai dealt harshly with her, and Hagar fled into the wilderness. The messenger of Yahweh found her by a spring of water in the desert, on the way to Shur. He said, "Hagar, maid of Sarai, from where have you come, and where are you going?" She replied, "I am fleeing from the face of Sarai, my mistress." Then the messenger of Yahweh said to her, "Return to your mistress and submit under her hand. I will greatly multiply your seed, so that it cannot be numbered for multitude. Behold, you are pregnant and shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, for Yahweh has heard your affliction. He shall be a wild man, his hand against all, and the hand of all against him. He shall dwell in the face of all his brothers." Hagar called the name of Yahweh who spoke to her, "You are El Roi, God of seeing." For she said, "Have I indeed seen here the one who sees me?" Therefore the well was called Bir Lahai Roi, the well of the living one who sees me. It is between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the son whom Hagar bore Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. When Abram was 99 years old, Yahweh appeared to him and said, I am El Shaddai, God who suffices. Walk before me and be blameless. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you exceedingly. Abram fell on his face, and Elohim spoke, Behold, my covenant is with you. You shall be the father of a multitude of nations. No longer shall your name be called Abram, but Abraham shall your name be, for I have made you the father of many nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful. Nations and kings shall come from you. I will establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you, for an everlasting covenant, to be Elohim to you and to your seed. I give to you and your seed after you the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their Elohim. Elohim said to Abraham, As for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your seed after you, throughout their generations. This is my covenant. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. He that is 8 days old shall be circumcised, every male in your generations, whether born in your house or bought with money from a foreigner. My covenant shall be in your flesh as an everlasting covenant, but the uncircumcised male shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Elohim said further, As for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. I will bless her and give you a son by her. She shall become nations. Kings of peoples shall come from her. Abraham fell on his face and laughed, saying in his heart, Shall a child be born to a man 100 years old? Shall Sarah, who is 90, bear? Abraham said to Elohim, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. Elohim replied, No. Sarah your wife shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. With him I will establish my covenant, an everlasting covenant for his seed. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will bless him, make him fruitful, and multiply him exceedingly. He shall father 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you at this set time next year. When Elohim finished speaking, he ascended from Abraham. Then Abraham took Ishmael his son, all those born in his house, and all bought with his money, every male among his household, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin that very day, as Elohim had commanded. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and Ishmael his son was 13. On that very day, Abraham and Ishmael were circumcised, and all the men of his house with him. Yahweh appeared to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre, as he sat at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. Lifting his eyes, he saw 3 men standing nearby. At once he ran to meet them, bowed low to the ground, and said, My Lord, if I have found favor in your eyes, do not pass by your servant. Let water be brought to wash your feet, and rest beneath the tree. Let me bring a morsel of bread to refresh your hearts. Afterward, you may pass on. They answered, Do as you have said. Abraham hastened to Sarah. Quickly, knead 3 measures of flour and bake bread. He ran to the herd, chose a tender calf, and had it prepared. He set before them curds, milk, and the calf, and stood by as they ate under the tree. They asked, Where is Sarah your wife? He answered, In the tent. Then one said, I will surely return to you at the appointed time of life, and behold, Sarah your wife shall have a son. Sarah listened at the tent's entrance. Abraham and Sarah were old, and the way of women had ceased for her. She laughed within herself. After I am worn out, shall I know pleasure, and my Lord old? But Yahweh said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I indeed bear a child being old? Is anything too difficult for Yahweh? At the appointed time I will return, and Sarah shall have a son. Sarah denied it. Afraid, I did not laugh. But he said, No, you did laugh. The men rose and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham walked with them. Yahweh said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? He shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all nations shall be blessed in him. For I have chosen him to command his children and his household, to keep the way of Yahweh, to do righteousness and justice. Then Yahweh said, The outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, their sin very grave. I will go down and see if it is as the cry that has reached me. The men turned toward Sodom, but Yahweh remained with Abraham. Abraham drew near and said, Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Perhaps 50 righteous are in the city. Will you not spare it for their sake? Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is just? Yahweh said, If I find 50 righteous, I will spare the whole place. Abraham pressed further. What if 5 are lacking of the 50? Yahweh answered, I will not destroy it if I find 45. Again Abraham said, What if 40 are found there? He answered, I will not do it for the sake of 40. Abraham said, Oh, let not my Lord be angry. What if 30 are found? He replied, I will not do it if I find 30. Then Abraham said, Behold, I have taken it upon myself to speak. What if 20 are found? Yahweh answered, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. Finally, Abraham said, Let not my Lord be angry, only this once more. What if 10 are found? Yahweh replied, For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. When Yahweh had finished speaking with Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. As evening fell, the 2 messengers of Yahweh entered Sodom. Lot was sitting at the city gate. When he saw them, he rose, bowed low and pleaded, Turn aside, I pray, into your servant's house. Wash your feet, spend the night, and rise early to go your way. They said, No, we will spend the night in the square. Yet Lot pressed them strongly, so they turned in and entered his house. He prepared a feast, baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they lay down, the men of Sodom, young and old from every quarter, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may know them. Lot went out, closing the door behind him, and said, Do not do such wickedness, my brothers. Behold, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Let me bring them to you, and do to them as you please. Only do nothing to these men, for they have come under the shadow of my roof. But they pressed hard upon him, saying, Stand aside. This fellow came as an alien, and now he acts the judge. We will deal worse with you than with them. They lunged at Lot to break the door. The messengers reached out, pulled Lot inside, and shut the door. They struck the men at the entrance with blindness, so that they wore themselves out groping for the door. Then they said to Lot, Have you anyone else here? Sons, daughters, sons-in-law? Bring them out, for we are about to destroy this place. The outcry before Yahweh is great, and he has sent us to destroy it. Lot warned his sons-in-law, but they thought he was jesting. At dawn, the messengers urged Lot, Take your wife and your 2 daughters, lest you be swept away in the city's punishment. He lingered, but the men seized him, his wife, and daughters by the hand. For Yahweh was merciful. They brought them out and set them outside the city, saying, Escape for your life. Do not look back or stop in the valley. Escape to the hills, lest you perish. Lot pleaded for the small town of Zoar, and they granted his request. As Lot entered Zoar, the sun rose. Then Yahweh rained down fire and brimstone upon Sodom and Gomorrah from Yahweh out of the heavens. He overthrew the cities, the valley, the inhabitants, and all that grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Early in the morning, Abraham stood at the place where he had stood before Yahweh. Looking toward Sodom and Gomorrah, he saw the smoke of the land rising like the smoke of a great furnace. Yahweh remembered Abraham and delivered Lot out of the overthrow. Lot went up from Zoar, fearful to remain there, and lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. The elder said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man left to lie with us. Let us give him wine to drink and lie with him, that we may preserve offspring through him." That night the elder went into him, and he knew not when she lay down, nor when she arose. On the next night the younger did likewise. Thus both daughters of Lot conceived by their father. The elder bore a son, and called him Moab, from my father. He became father of the Moabites. The younger also bore a son, and called him Ben-Ami, son of my kin. He became father of the Ammonites, both enduring to this day. Abraham journeyed from there into the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While sojourning in Gerar, Abraham said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said, "Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman you have taken, for she is another man's wife." Abimelech had not approached her, and he said, "My lord, will you destroy an innocent nation? Did not he say to me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself also said, 'He is my brother.' In the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands, I have done this." Elohim said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know you did this in sincerity. That is why I kept you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not allow you to touch her. Now restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who belong to you." Abimelech rose early, called all his servants, and told them these things, and fear fell upon them. He called Abraham and said, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you, that you have brought this great sin upon me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that ought not to be done." And Abimelech said, "What did you see that you did this thing?" Abraham replied, "Because I thought, surely there is no fear of Elohim in this place, and they will kill me for my wife. And besides, she is truly my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. When Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'This is your kindness to me. At every place we come, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. Abimelech said, 'Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you.' To Sarah he said, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 shekels of silver. This is to vindicate you before all who are with you, so that you are cleared of reproach.' Then Abraham prayed to Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech, his wife, and his maidservants, so that they bore children, for Yahweh had tightly closed every womb in Abimelech's household, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Yahweh visited Sarah as he had spoken, and he did for her as he had promised. Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time Elohim had declared. Abraham called the child's name Isaac, and on the 8th day he circumcised him, just as Elohim commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Sarah said, "Elohim has brought me laughter. All who hear will laugh with me." Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. The boy grew, and on the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. But Sarah saw Ishmael, the son of Hagar the Egyptian, mocking. She said to Abraham, "Cast out this maidservant and her son, for the son of the maid shall not inherit with my son, with Isaac." The matter was grievous in Abraham's eyes because of his son. Yet Elohim said, "Do not let it be grievous because of the lad and your maid. In all that Sarah says to you, listen to her voice, for through Isaac shall your seed be named. But also of the son of the maid I will make a nation, for he is your seed." Abraham rose early, gave Hagar bread and a skin of water, and sent her away with the boy. She wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water was gone, she laid the boy under a shrub, went a bowshot away, and said, "Let me not look upon the death of the child." She wept. Elohim heard the voice of the lad, and the messenger of Elohim called from heaven, "What troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for Elohim has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift him, and hold him fast, for I will make him a great nation." Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of living water. She filled the skin and gave the boy to drink. Elohim was with him. He grew in the wilderness, became a skilled bowman, and dwelt in Paran. His mother took a wife for him from Egypt. At that time, Abimelech, with Phicol the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, "Elohim is with you in all you do. Swear to me here by Elohim that you will not deal falsely with me, my descendants, or my posterity, but according to the kindness I have shown you, so you shall deal with me in the land where you sojourn." Abraham swore, yet he reproved Abimelech because his servants had seized a well. Abimelech said, "I do not know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I only heard of it today." Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs. Abimelech asked, "What is the meaning of these?" Abraham said, "You shall accept them as witness that I dug this well." Therefore the place was called Beersheba, well of the oath, for there they swore together. After they made the covenant, Abimelech and Phicol returned to Philistine land. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there called on the name of Yahweh, the everlasting El. He sojourned many days as a foreigner in the land of the Philistines. After these things, Elohim tested Abraham. He called his name Abraham, and Abraham answered, "Here I am." Then came the command, solemn and piercing, "Take your son, your only one, Isaac whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him there as an ascent offering on a mountain I shall show you." At dawn, Abraham rose. He saddled his donkey, took 2 servants and Isaac, split wood for the offering, and set out. On the 3rd day, lifting his eyes, he saw the place afar. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go yonder. We will worship and return to you." Abraham placed the wood upon Isaac, while he himself carried fire and knife. Together, father and son walked. Isaac spoke, "My father." Abraham answered, "Here I am, my son." The boy asked, "Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the offering?" Abraham replied, "Elohim will see to the lamb for the offering, my son." And the 2 walked on together. They came to the place Elohim had shown. Abraham built an altar, arranged the wood, bound Isaac, and laid him upon it. He stretched out his hand, knife raised to slay his son, when a voice thundered from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham!" He answered, "Here I am." The messenger of Yahweh said, "Do not lay your hand upon the boy. Do him no harm. Now I know that you fear Elohim, since you have not withheld your son, your only son from me." Abraham lifted his eyes, and there behind him was a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. He took the ram and offered it instead of his son. He named that place Yahweh Yireh, Yahweh will provide. And it is said to this day, on the mount of Yahweh it shall be provided. Then the messenger of Yahweh called again from heaven, "By myself I swear, says Yahweh, because you have done this and not withheld your son, your only one, I will surely bless you and multiply your seed as the stars of heaven and the sand upon the seashore. Your seed shall possess the gate of its enemies, and in your seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because you obeyed my voice." Abraham returned to his servants, and together they went to Beersheba, where he dwelt. In those days, word came to Abraham. Milcah also bore sons to his brother Nahor, Uz the firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. Bethuel begot Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 sons to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and Roimah, his concubine, bore Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah. Sarah's years current with the merchant's weight, before the sons of Heth. Thus the field of Ephron at Machpelah, near Mamre, with its cave and all its trees within its boundaries, was secured to Abraham as his possession, witnessed at the city's gate. There, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of Machpelah, near Mamre, that is Hebron in Canaan, and so the field and the cave within it were established to Abraham from the sons of Heth as a possession for a tomb. Abraham was advanced in years, and Yahweh had blessed him in all things. Yet one matter pressed upon him. A wife must be found for Isaac, not from the daughters of Canaan, among whom he sojourned, but from his own kindred. So he called the elder of his house, ruler over all he possessed, and bound him by oath beneath his thigh, charging him in the name of Yahweh, Elohim of the heavens and the earth. "You shall not take a wife for my son from among these nations," he said. "Go to my land, to my family, and there take a wife for Isaac. Yahweh, who called me forth, will send his messenger before you." The servant swore and departed, with 10 camels laden with treasures. At eventide he reached the city of Nahor and made the camels kneel by a well. There he prayed, "O Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, prosper my way this day. Let it be that the maiden who offers me water and also draws for my camels be the one you have appointed for Isaac."
Before his words were finished, Rebekah came forth, jar upon her shoulder, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, wife of Nahor. She was fair, untouched by man. The servant ran to her and asked for a sip of water. She gave him drink and hastened to draw for all the camels also. Wondering silently, he watched until the beasts had drunk their fill. Then he adorned her with a golden pendant and bracelets and asked, "Whose daughter are you?" She answered, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah and Nahor. There is room in our house to lodge." At this the servant bowed to the ground and worshipped Yahweh, blessing the one who had guided him. Rebekah ran and told her household. Her brother Laban, seeing the ornaments and hearing her report, welcomed the servant. "Come in, blessed of Yahweh." They prepared food, yet he would not eat until he had spoken. He recounted Abraham's charge, his prayer at the well, and the swiftness of Yahweh's answer through Rebekah. Laban and Bethuel said, "This matter comes from Yahweh. Here is Rebekah. Take her, and let her be the wife of your master's son." The servant bowed low, offering gifts of silver, gold, and garments. When morning came, he asked to return, but the family wished her to remain 10 days. He urged them not to delay, and they called Rebekah. She said simply, "I will go." They blessed her, "Our sister, be mother of thousands of myriads, and may your seed possess the gates of its enemies." So she departed with her maidens, riding upon camels, following the servant. Meanwhile Isaac was in the field at eventide, meditating. He lifted his eyes and saw the caravan. Rebekah also lifted her eyes, saw Isaac, and dismounted. "Who is this man?" she asked. The servant replied, "It is my master." She veiled herself, and the servant told Isaac all. Then Isaac brought her into the tent of Sarah his mother. He took Rebekah, and she became his wife. He loved her, and in her presence Isaac was comforted after the sorrow of his mother's death. Abraham's days came to their close, full and satisfied,
And Yahweh gathered him to his people at the age of 175. He was laid to rest in the cave of Machpelah, beside Sarah, his wife, in the field he had purchased from the sons of Heth. Isaac and Ishmael together buried their father, and the covenant blessing passed to Isaac, who dwelt by the well Lahai Roi. The text then preserves the generations of Ishmael, son of Abraham by Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian maid. Ishmael fathered 12 sons, princes of tribes who dwelt from Havilah to Shur near Egypt, extending toward Assyria. He lived 137 years before joining his fathers in death, leaving a legacy of nations that stood apart from their kin, dwelling in conflict before all their brothers. The account then turns to Isaac, son of promise. He was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel and sister of Laban, as his wife. Yet Rebekah was barren. Isaac entreated Yahweh, and Yahweh granted his plea. She conceived, but the children struggled within her. Troubled, she sought Yahweh, and he spoke. 2 nations are in your womb, 2 peoples shall be divided. One shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. When her time came, twins were born. The first emerged ruddy and covered with hair, and they called his name Esau. The second followed, grasping his brother's heel. His name was Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old at their birth. The boys grew into contrasting men. Esau became a skilled hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was quiet, dwelling in tents. Isaac favored Esau for the game he brought, but Rebekah loved Jacob. One day Esau returned faint with hunger from the field, and Jacob was cooking a stew of lentils. Esau demanded some of the red stew, and from this he was also called Edom. Jacob seized the moment. "Sell me your birthright today." Esau, weary and near collapse, dismissed the value of what was his by inheritance. "Behold, I am going to die. What good is a birthright to me?" At Jacob's insistence, he swore the oath, trading his birthright for bread and stew. He ate, drank, rose, and went his way. Thus, Scripture declares, Esau despised his birthright. In this, the destiny of nations began to unfold, not by might of the elder, but by the choice of Yahweh, who foresaw that the promise would pass through Jacob, the younger. The land groaned under famine once more, as it had in the days of Abraham. Isaac sought refuge in Gerar under Abimelech, king of the Philistines. Yet Yahweh appeared and spoke to him. "Do not go down to Egypt. Stay in this land where I place you, and I will be with you. I will bless you, for to you and to your seed I give these lands. I will fulfill the oath I swore to Abraham, your father. I will make your seed like the stars of the heavens. In your seed all nations shall bless themselves." So Isaac remained in Gerar. Fear, however, overcame him, for Rebekah was fair of face, and he said she was his sister, lest the men kill him for her. Yet in time, Abimelech observed Isaac caressing his wife and reproached him. "She is truly your wife. Why did you say she is your sister? You might have brought guilt upon us." Abimelech decreed that none should touch Isaac or Rebekah on pain of death. Yahweh's blessing was with Isaac, and he sowed in the land and reaped 100-fold that year. His wealth grew, flocks, herds, and servants increased, so much that the Philistines envied him. They stopped the wells his father's servants had dug. Abimelech pressed Isaac to depart. "Go from us, for you are mightier than we." Isaac moved to the valley of Gerar, reopening the wells once dug by Abraham and restoring their names. His servants uncovered fresh water, but the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with them. The first well he named Esek, contention, for they disputed it. The second he named Sitnah, hostility. At last, a third well they did not contest, and Isaac named it Rehoboth, wide spaces, saying, "Now Yahweh has given us room, and we shall be fruitful in the land." From there he went up to Beersheba. That night Yahweh appeared again. "I am the Elohim of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you. I will bless you and increase your seed for the sake of my servant Abraham." There Isaac built an altar, called upon the name of Yahweh, and pitched his tent. His servants dug yet another well. Abimelech soon returned with Ahuzzath and Phicol. Isaac challenged them. "Why do you come to me, since you hated me and sent me away?" They answered, "We see clearly Yahweh is with you. Let there be peace between us. We have not harmed you, but let you go in peace. You are now the blessed of Yahweh." Isaac received them, prepared a feast, and they swore an oath of covenant. That very day, his servants came announcing, "We have found water." So he named the place Sheba, and the city was called Beersheba to that day. But not all was peace. Esau, at 40 years of age, took as wives Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, daughter of Elon. These unions brought bitterness of spirit to Isaac and Rebekah, the shadow of grief resting in the midst of Yahweh's blessing. Isaac's sight had dimmed with age, and he summoned Esau, his elder, desiring to set his blessing upon him before death. "Take your bow and arrows," he said, "hunt game for me, and prepare the savory food I love, that I may eat and bless you before Yahweh." But Rebekah overheard. She favored Jacob the younger, remembering Yahweh's word that the elder shall serve the younger. she hastened to Jacob. "Fetch 2 young goats, and I will prepare them as your father likes. You shall bring them, and he will bless you before his death." Jacob feared discovery. "Esau is hairy, but I am smooth. If he touches me, I will seem a deceiver and bring a curse." But Rebekah answered, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey." She clothed him in Esau's garments and placed goat skins upon his hands and neck. Thus, armed with food and disguise, Jacob entered Isaac's tent. "My father," he said. "Who are you, my son?" asked Isaac. "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said. Arise and eat, that your soul may bless me." Suspicion lingered in Isaac. "How did you find it so quickly?" Jacob answered. "Because Yahweh, your Elohim, brought it to me." Isaac touched him. The voice was Jacob's, yet the hands were Esau's. Still doubtful, Isaac asked again, "Are you truly my son Esau?" Jacob said, "I am." Isaac ate, drank, and called Jacob near to kiss him. Smelling Esau's garments, he was convinced and poured out the blessing. "May Elohim give you the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, grain and new wine in abundance. Nations shall serve you, peoples shall bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow to you. Cursed be those who curse you, blessed be those who bless you." No sooner had Jacob gone than Esau returned, bringing his dish. "Father, arise and eat, that your soul may bless me." But Isaac trembled greatly. "Who was it that brought me game before you came?" I ate and blessed him. Indeed, he shall remain blessed. Esau wailed bitterly, "Bless me too, my father." But Isaac answered, "I have made him lord over you, given him grain and wine. What can I do for you, my son?" Still Esau cried, and Isaac spoke, "Your dwelling shall be far from the earth's richness, and from the dew of heaven above. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. Yet in time you shall break his yoke from your neck." Esau's grief hardened into rage. "When my father dies, I will kill my brother Jacob." Rebekah learned of it and warned Jacob, "Flee to my brother Laban in Haran until Esau's fury subsides. Why should I lose both sons in one day?" Then she lamented to Isaac, "If Jacob marries the daughters of this land, my life is worth nothing to me." Thus, through deception and destiny, Jacob inherited the blessing, and enmity grew between the brothers, shaping the future of nations. Jacob set out from Beersheba, carrying the blessing of Isaac and the destiny first spoken to Abraham. Alone upon the road to Haran, he left behind the tents of his father and the simmering wrath of Esau. The sun set, and he stopped at an unmarked place. With only a stone for a pillow, he lay down beneath the heavens. That night, Jacob dreamed. Before him rose a stairway anchored to the earth, its summit piercing the skies. Upon it, the messengers of Elohim moved endlessly, ascending and descending, their paths connecting the realms above and below. At the head of the ladder stood Yahweh himself, declaring words that bound Jacob's uncertain steps to divine certainty. "I am Yahweh, the Elohim of Abraham your father, and the Elohim of Isaac. The land where you lie I will give to you and your seed. Your seed shall be like the dust of the earth, spreading west, east, north, and south. Through you and your seed, all families of the ground shall be blessed. Behold, I am with you. I will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done all I have spoken." Jacob awoke with trembling awe. Surely Yahweh is in this place and I did not know it. His heart swelled with both fear and wonder, for he knew he had lain at the threshold of heaven. He called the place Bethel, the house of Elohim, and raised the stone he had used as a pillow into a pillar, pouring oil upon it to consecrate the site. He vowed, "If Elohim is with me, guarding my way, granting me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and bringing me again in peace to my father's house, then Yahweh shall be my Elohim. This stone shall be a house of Elohim, and of all he gives me, I will surely give a tenth back to him."
Thus the fugitive became a visionary. In the wilderness, under the vast heavens, Jacob encountered not abandonment, but presence, not despair, but promise. The latter revealed that earth and heaven were not severed, but joined under Yahweh's care, and that Jacob's journey was bound to the eternal covenant.
Jacob's journey eastward led him to the well at Charan, where flocks gathered and shepherds waited. There he first saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, approaching with her sheep. Strength surged in him, and with a single effort, he rolled away the stone from the mouth of the well, watering her flock. Overcome, he kissed her and wept, for in Rachel he saw both kinship and promise. Welcomed into Laban's household, Jacob agreed to serve 7 years for Rachel's hand. Yet love lightened the labor, and the days seemed but a few. When the time was fulfilled, a feast was made, but under cover of night, Laban gave him Leah instead. At dawn, Jacob discovered the deception, and his cry of protest echoed his own past deceits. Laban justified the act by custom, insisting that the elder must precede the younger. He offered Rachel also, on the condition of another 7 years of service. So Jacob took both sisters as wives, yet his heart favored Rachel. Yahweh, seeing Leah unloved, opened her womb while Rachel remained barren. Leah bore son after son, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. With each birth she named her child, with words of longing and praise, hoping for her husband's love, and at last declaring, "Now I will praise Yahweh." Thus rivalry entered Jacob's household, love for Rachel, fertility for Leah, and providence guiding both. Out of longing, rivalry, and divine compassion, the house of Israel began to be built. Jacob's household became a theater of rivalry and divine mercy. Rachel, once barren, looked upon Leah's many sons with envy and cried out, "Grant me sons, or I shall die." Jacob, pressed with her grief, reminded her that only Elohim gives life. In desperation, Rachel offered her maid Bilhah, who bore Dan and Naphtali, sons Rachel claimed as her own victories over her sister. Leah, unwilling to be outdone, gave her maid Zilpah, who bore Gad and Asher. Thus the struggle for Jacob's affection turned into a contest of children. During the wheat harvest, young Reuben brought home mandrakes, plants believed to stir fertility. Rachel desired them, but Leah, bitter, accused her of stealing not only mandrakes, but also her husband. The sisters struck a bargain. Jacob would lie with Leah that night in exchange for the mandrakes. Out of this union, Issachar was born, then Zebulun, and finally Dinah, the daughter. Leah now spoke with confidence, believing her dowry from Elohim would secure her husband's regard. At last, Elohim remembered Rachel. He opened her womb, and she bore a son, declaring, "Elohim has gathered away my reproach." She named him Joseph, praying that Yahweh would add another son to her joy. With his family multiplying, Jacob turned to provide for their sustenance. Laban, recognizing that Yahweh's blessing flowed through Jacob, sought to keep him. But Jacob, weary of servitude, devised a plan. From Laban's flocks he would claim only the speckled, spotted, and dark-colored animals. By means of peeled rods set before the watering troughs, Jacob influenced the breeding of the strong and healthy, and the flocks multiplied in his favor. Thus Yahweh prospered Jacob. His tents swelled with children, his herds with strength, his household with servants and beasts of burden. Yet behind the abundance lay strife, rivalry, and cunning, woven into the tapestry of divine blessing and human struggle. Jacob's years of service under Laban ended not in peace but in tension. Laban's sons accused him of stealing their father's wealth, and Jacob noticed Laban's face was no longer favorable. In this moment, Yahweh spoke clearly. "Return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you." Jacob gathered Rachel and Leah in the field, recounting Laban's deceit. His wages changed 10 times, yet testifying that Elohim had protected and prospered him. The sisters, long embittered by their father's treatment, declared that they had no inheritance left in his house. "All that Elohim has taken from our father belongs to us and our children. Do whatever Elohim has said." So Jacob set his family upon camels, drove his flocks, and departed for Canaan. Yet Rachel secretly stole her father's household idols, and Jacob slipped away without telling Laban. When Laban learned of it, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and overtook him in the hill country of Gilead. But in the night, Elohim came to Laban in a dream, warning him not to harm Jacob, nor to speak good or ill against him. Confronting Jacob, Laban accused him of deceit and theft. Jacob, unaware of Rachel's act, declared boldly that none in his camp had stolen. Rachel hid the idols beneath her saddle, feigning the weakness of women, and Laban found nothing. Stung, Jacob's anger flared. He recounted his 20 years of faithful service, 14 for Rachel and Leah, 6 for the flocks, enduring heat and frost, sleepless nights, and endless toil. "If not for the Elohim of my father, the awe-inspiring one of Isaac, you would have sent me away empty-handed." At last, Laban relented. He proposed a covenant of peace. A mound of stones was raised as witness, called Galad by Jacob and Mizpah by Laban. "May Yahweh watch between you and me when we are apart." They swore by the Elohim of their fathers, shared a meal, and spent the night on the hill. At dawn, Laban kissed his daughters and grandchildren, blessed them, and returned to his place. Jacob remained under Yahweh's protection, free at last to continue his journey back to the land of promise. Jacob's return to Canaan was shadowed by fear. Messengers sent ahead brought back troubling news. Esau was coming with 400 men. The memory of his brother's anger still haunted him, and Jacob trembled at the thought of vengeance. He divided his people and flocks into 2 camps, hoping that if one fell, the other might escape. Then he lifted his heart to Yahweh. "I am unworthy of all the mercy and faithfulness you have shown me. With only my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have 2 camps. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of Esau." To appease his brother, Jacob prepared a great gift: goats and rams, camels with their foals, cows, bulls, donkeys, and colts. He sent them ahead in separate droves, each servant instructed to say, "These belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift for my lord Esau, and Jacob is behind us." That night, Jacob led his wives, children, and all his possessions across the ford of the Jabbok. Left alone in the darkness, he was suddenly seized. A man wrestled with him through the long hours of the night. Neither prevailed, until the stranger touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of joint. Still Jacob clung to him, gasping, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The stranger asked his name. "Jacob," he replied. Then came the words of transformation. "No longer shall you be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with Elohim and with men, and you have prevailed." There, in weakness and in pain, Jacob received his new identity. He named the place Peniel, saying, I have seen Elohim face to face, and yet my life has been preserved. As the sun rose over him, Jacob limped toward his future, a man wounded yet blessed, carrying a new name that marked his destiny, Israel. Jacob lifted his eyes, and there in the distance he saw Esau advancing, 400 men at his side. The weight of fear pressed upon him. Yet he moved deliberately, placing the maidservants with their children first, Leah and her children after them, and Rachel with Joseph last. Then Jacob himself went ahead of them all. Step by step he approached his brother, bowing low to the earth, 7 times in humility and submission, until the space between them was closed.
But what Jacob feared did not come to pass. Esau broke into a run, his arms outstretched. He embraced his brother, fell upon his neck, and kissed him. Together they wept, the tears of years lost, subdued, a reconciliation made. Esau's eyes then turned to the women and children, and he asked, Who are these with you? Jacob answered softly, The children Elohim has graciously given your servant. One by one, the maidservants and their children approached and bowed. Leah and hers followed. Finally,
I got
Rachel and
facts over
Joseph
facts over
drew
tracks, this
near
and that, spitting
and
slow,
bowed
spitting
low.
fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm
then
okay
asked
at
about
last,
the
but I
vast
don't know
company
if
of
that can
animals he
erase all the
encountered on
past
the
and the
way.
pettiness. A
Jacob
reflection of the
replied,
emptiness, hilarious.
To
You
find
think you're worth my
favor in
time,
the
you're
eyes of my
delirious,
Lord.
mysterious, because you are
Esau
behind a
shook
fake
his head and
exterior,
said,
inferior. You
I
know
have
I'll
not
always be a
killed
bit
my
superior.
brother.
Get off of me,
Let what
this ain't
is
no
yours
humble
remain
brag. I
yours.
want you to hear words, you
Jacob
can say
pressed
them
him
back. I
earnestly,
want you to feel free
Please
from
take
the
my gift, for Elohim has been gracious to me, and I have all I need. Seeing your face is like seeing the face of Elohim, and you have received me kindly. At last, Esau accepted. Esau urged Jacob to journey with him to Seir, but Jacob demurred, explaining the frailty of the children and the herds. Esau offered some of his men as escort, but Jacob gently declined. And so Esau returned that day toward Seir, while Jacob turned toward Succoth, where he built himself a house and shelters for his cattle. Later, Jacob came safely to Shechem in Canaan. There he purchased a portion of land from the sons of Hamor for 100 kesitas. Upon that ground, he set up an altar and called upon the Elohim of Israel, the God who had preserved, reconciled, and renamed him. Dinah, daughter of Leah and Jacob, went out to visit the daughters of the land. But Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the region, saw her, seized her, and violated her. Yet his heart was bound to her, and he spoke tenderly to her. He urged his father, "Take this girl for me as a wife." When Jacob heard of what had been done, he remained silent until his sons returned from the field. But Hamor came to him, seeking to negotiate. As the sons arrived and learned what had happened, they were deeply grieved and their anger burned, for an outrage had been committed against Israel. Such a deed, they declared, should never be done. Hamor pleaded, "My son longs for your daughter. Give her to him as wife. Let us intermarry, your daughters for us, our daughters for you. Dwell in the land, trade in it, and possess it." Shechem himself added, "Let me find favor in your eyes. Set for me any bride price or gift, and I will give it. Only grant me the maiden as wife." But Jacob's sons answered deceitfully because of Dinah. Simeon and Levi, her full brothers, declared, "We cannot give our sister to a man uncircumcised. It is a disgrace to us. Only on this condition will we consent, that every male among you be circumcised. Then we will give our daughters and take yours, and we shall become one people. But if you refuse, we will take our sister and go." Hamor and Shechem agreed readily. The youth delayed not, for he delighted in Dinah. Together they spoke at the city gate. These men are peaceable. Let them dwell with us, for the land is wide. Their daughters will be ours, and their wealth will become ours. Only let every male among us be circumcised. So all the men of the city consented. On the third day, when the men were in pain, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came upon the city unawares. They slew every male, including Hamor and Shechem, and rescued Dinah from Shechem's house. The other sons of Jacob plundered the city. Flocks, herds, donkeys, wealth, children, and women, all were taken. When Jacob heard, he rebuked Simeon and Levi. You have brought trouble on me, making me odious among the Canaanites and Perizzites. We are few, and if they gather against me, I and my household will be destroyed. But they answered defiantly, should he treat our sister as a prostitute? Thus the stain of Shechem's outrage was met with vengeance, but the cost was a city's blood and the burden of guilt upon Israel's house. Jacob's journey entered a new season when Elohim spoke to him. Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make an altar to El, who appeared to you when you fled from Esau. Bethel had been the place of Jacob's first vision, the ladder to heaven. And now Elohim called him back, not as a fugitive, but as the father of a household. Jacob gathered his family and commanded them, put away the foreign Elohim that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your garments. We will go up to Bethel, and there I will build an altar to El, who answered me in my distress, and has been with me in the way I have gone. His household surrendered their idols and earrings, and Jacob buried them beneath a terebinth tree near Shechem. As they traveled, the fear of Elohim fell upon the surrounding cities, so none dared pursue them. At Bethel, Jacob built an altar and called the place El Bethel, for there Elohim had revealed himself when Jacob fled from Esau. Soon after, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried beneath an oak, which Jacob named Allon Bakuth, the oak of weeping. Once again Elohim appeared to Jacob, reaffirming his covenant. Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall come from you, and kings shall spring from your loins. The land I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I give to you and to your seed after you. When Elohim ascended, Jacob set up a stone pillar, poured a libation, and anointed it with oil, naming the place Bethel. From there they journeyed toward Ephrath. But Rachel, beloved wife of Jacob, labored in hard childbirth. The midwife reassured her, fear not, for you have another son. Yet as her soul departed, she named him Ben-Oni, son of my sorrow. Jacob, however, called him Benjamin, son of my right hand. Rachel died and was buried on the road to Ephrath, Bethlehem. Jacob set a pillar over her grave, which remains as her monument. Israel moved on, pitching his tent beyond Migdal Eder. But sorrow returned when Reuben, his firstborn, lay with Bilhah, Rachel's maid, and Jacob's concubine. Israel heard of it, and the sin hung heavily over the household. The record of Jacob's sons was now complete: 6 from Leah, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun; 2 from Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin; 2 from Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali; and 2 from Zilpah, Gad and Asher. 12 sons in all, the fathers of Israel's tribes. Jacob then came to Hebron, to his father Isaac, where Abraham and Isaac had dwelt. Isaac lived 180 years, and at last breathed his last, gathered to his people, full of days. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him together, closing one generation as the promise continued through the next. The record now turns from Jacob chosen heir of the covenant, to Esau, who became father of the nation of Edom. Though not the line through which Yahweh's promises would flow, his legacy shaped kingdoms and peoples that would stand as Israel's neighbors, rivals, and sometimes enemies. Esau took wives from among the Canaanites: Adah, daughter of Elon the Hittite; Oholibamah, daughter of Anah, son of Zibeon the Horite; and Basemath, daughter of Ishmael, sister of Nebaioth. Through them came his sons: Eliphaz by Adah, Reuel by Basemath, and Jeush, Jalam, and Korah by Oholibamah. These children were born to him in the land of Canaan. But the wealth of Esau and Jacob became too great for them to dwell together. Their herds and possessions filled the land, and so Esau departed from the face of his brother, settling in the hill country of Seir. Thus Esau became known as Edom, and the people of his line as Edomites. The genealogy of Esau unfolds in layers: his sons, his grandsons, and the sheiks of their clans. From Eliphaz came Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz, and also Amalek through Timnah, his concubine. From Reuel came Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. From Oholibamah came Jush, Jalam, and Korah. Each of these became sheiks, ruling over their households and territories within Edom. The account continues with the sons of Seir the Horite, the ancient dwellers of the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. Their clans, too, are listed, men and women remembered not only as individuals, but as the roots of nations. The Horite sheiks ruled before Esau's descendants fully took hold of the land, and their names were woven into the story of Edom. Later, kings arose in Edom, before Israel ever had a king: Bela son of Beor, Jobab son of Zerah, Husham of the Temanite land, Hadad son of Bedad, who struck down Midian in Moab, Samlah of Masrekah, Saul of Rehoboth by the stream, Baal-Hanan son of Achbor, and Hadad son of Bered, whose city was Pau. Their reigns testify that Edom became organized and powerful, while Israel was still a family wandering and sojourning. The chapter closes by naming the sheiks of Esau according to their families and dwelling places: Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Pinon, Kenaz, Teman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. Each governed their portion of land, and together they formed the nation of Edom, the descendants of Esau, who is Edom. Here Scripture preserves the legacy of a brother-turned-nation outside the covenant of Jacob, yet still remembered as a people established with territory, leaders, and kings. Their presence would stand as both neighbor and adversary to Israel, a reminder of kinship and division flowing from the same patriarchal house. Jacob dwelt in the land of Canaan, the same land where his father had sojourned. Among his sons, Joseph, at only 17, was already distinct. He pastured flocks with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, but unlike his brothers, he brought their misdeeds to their father. More than this, Jacob, Israel, loved Joseph above all his sons, for he was the child of his old age. As a token of this special love, Jacob gave Joseph a richly ornamented tunic, setting him apart in the eyes of the household. This favoritism bred hatred. His brothers could not even speak peaceably to him. Matters worsened when Joseph began to dream. First, he told them of sheaves of grain, theirs bowing to his. Their resentment deepened, for the dream suggested his rule over them. Then came another dream: the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing before him. His father rebuked him. "Shall I and your mother and brothers bow before you?" Yet Jacob pondered the vision in silence. His brother's jealousy, however, burned hotter. One day, Jacob sent Joseph from Hebron to check on his brothers pasturing in Shechem. Wandering in the fields, Joseph was directed to Dothan. As he approached, his brothers saw him from afar. Bitterness welled into conspiracy. "Here comes the dreamer. Let us kill him, cast him into a pit, and say a wild beast devoured him. Then we shall see what becomes of his dreams." Reuben, the eldest, sought to save him. "Do not shed blood. Cast him into this cistern in the wilderness," he urged, hoping later to restore him to their father. When Joseph arrived, they stripped him of his tunic and flung him into an empty pit. Then, unmoved, they sat down to eat. As they ate, a caravan of Ishmaelites approached, bearing spices for Egypt. Judah spoke, "What profit is there if we kill our brother and cover his blood? Let us sell him. He is our own flesh." His brothers agreed. So they lifted Joseph from the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. The Midianite traders carried him off to Egypt. When Reuben returned and found the cistern empty, he tore his clothes in grief. The others dipped Joseph's tunic in goat's blood and brought it to their father. Jacob recognized it, crying out, "It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him." Joseph is torn to pieces. He tore his garments, clothed himself in sackcloth, and mourned many days. None could comfort him, for he declared he would go down in sorrow to the grave. Meanwhile, in Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Thus, the dreamer's path turned toward a destiny hidden yet ordered by the hand of Yahweh. At that time, Judah departed from his brothers and dwelt near an Adullamite man named Hira. There he took a Canaanite woman, the daughter of Shua, as his wife. She bore him 3 sons, Ir, Onan, and Shelah. When Judah's firstborn, came of age, Judah gave him a wife named Tamar. But was wicked in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh put him to death. Judah then commanded his second son, Onan, to fulfill his duty of levirate marriage, to raise offspring for his deceased brother through Tamar. But Onan, knowing the child would not be counted as his, spilled his seed on the ground, refusing to give his brother offspring. This displeased Yahweh, and he struck Onan down as well. Fearing for his last son Shelah, Judah told Tamar to live as a widow in her father's house until Shelah was grown, but he did not truly intend to give him to her. Tamar returned home, waiting. After much time, Judah's own wife, the daughter of Shua, died. When his mourning ended, Judah went to Timnah to shear his flocks, accompanied by his friend Hira. Tamar learned of this and saw that Shelah had grown, but was not given to her. So she laid aside her widow's garments, veiled herself, and sat by the road at Enaim, disguising herself. Judah saw her, not knowing she was his daughter-in-law, and mistook her for a prostitute. He turned aside to her and promised her a young goat in payment. Tamar asked for a pledge until the payment came, his seal, cord, and staff. Judah gave them, and she conceived by him. Later, Judah sent Hira with the goat to retrieve his pledge, but she was nowhere to be found, and the locals denied that a prostitute had been there. Judah, to avoid shame, let the matter drop. About 3 months later, Judah was told that Tamar had played the harlot and was pregnant. In anger, he demanded she be brought out and burned. But as she was brought forth, she sent word to Judah, "I am pregnant by the man to whom these belong. Recognize them, your seal, cord, and staff." Judah acknowledged them and declared, "She is more righteous than I, for I did not give her to my son Shelah." He did not lie with her again. When Tamar's time came, she bore twins. During birth, one child put out his hand, and the midwife tied a scarlet thread to mark him as firstborn. Yet he withdrew his hand, and his brother emerged instead. The midwife exclaimed, "What a breach you have made for yourself," and named him Perez. Then his brother came forth with the scarlet thread, and was named Zerah. Thus, through Tamar's daring, the line of Judah continued. Perez, ancestor of kings and of the Messiah to come. Joseph was brought down into Egypt, sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Though torn from his father's house and betrayed by his brothers, Joseph was not forsaken, for Yahweh was with him. Everything he did prospered. Potiphar soon saw this. The hand of Yahweh rested upon the young Hebrew. Trusting him, he placed Joseph in charge of his household, giving him authority over all he owned. From that day, the blessing of Yahweh fell upon Potiphar's house and fields alike for the sake of Joseph. Potiphar concerned himself with nothing except the food set before him. Joseph was striking in form and appearance, and in time, Potiphar's wife fixed her gaze on him. She said, "Lie with me." But Joseph refused. "My master has entrusted me with all that is in his house. He has kept nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a great evil and sin against Elohim?" Day after day she urged him. But Joseph did not yield, nor would he even be with her. One day, when he entered the house to do his work, none of the servants were there. Potiphar's wife seized him by his cloak, crying, "Lie with me." But Joseph tore himself free, leaving his cloak in her hand, and fled outside. Seeing that he had escaped, she called the men of the household and accused him. "See, he has brought us a Hebrew to mock us. He came to lie with me, but I cried out, and he fled, leaving his cloak beside me." She laid the cloak aside, keeping it until Potiphar returned. Then she repeated the charge. "The Hebrew slave whom you brought to us came to disgrace me. When I cried out, he fled, leaving his cloak here." Potiphar burned with anger and cast Joseph into the prison where the king's prisoners were bound. Yet even there, Yahweh was with Joseph. He showed him steadfast love, granting him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. Soon Joseph was entrusted with all the prisoners, and the warden paid no attention to anything under his care. Whatever Joseph did, Yahweh made it prosper. Thus, though falsely accused and wronged, Joseph remained in the presence of Yahweh, who was silently preparing his path to greatness. In the days of Joseph's confinement, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker offended their master, the king of Egypt. In his wrath, Pharaoh cast them into the prison, the same place where Joseph was bound, under the charge of the captain of the guard. The captain assigned Joseph to attend them, and thus he ministered to these men of rank even in the lowest state of bondage. After some time, both officials dreamed a dream on the same night, each with its own meaning. In the morning, Joseph observed their troubled faces and asked, "Why are your faces downcast today?" They replied, "We have dreamed a dream, but there is no one to interpret it." Joseph answered with confidence, rooted not in himself, but in Yahweh, "Do not interpretations belong to Elohim? Tell them to me, please." The chief cupbearer spoke first. "In my dream there was a vine before me. On the vine were 3 branches. It budded, blossomed, and produced ripe grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. I took the grapes, pressed them, and placed the cup into Pharaoh's hand." Joseph said, "This is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your post. You will place Pharaoh's cup in his hand, as before. But remember me when it goes well with you. Show me kindness, mention me to Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. For I was stolen from the land of the Hebrews, and here I have done nothing deserving this prison." Seeing that Joseph's words were favorable, the baker shared his dream. "Behold, 3 baskets of baked goods were on my head. In the top basket were all manner of Pharaoh's food, the work of a baker, but birds ate from the basket above me. Joseph answered soberly, "This is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from you. He will hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh." On the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday, he gave a feast for his servants and summoned the 2 officials. He restored the cupbearer to his post, and the baker was hanged, just as Joseph had said. Yet the cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. In this, the providence of Yahweh was still at work, through forgotten promises, through the waiting of his servant, setting the stage for the appointed time of Joseph's rise.
At the end of 2 full years, Pharaoh dreams. In the first vision, he is standing on the ridge of the great waterway. Out of the river come 7 young cows, sleek, lovely to the eye, plump with flesh, and they graze contentedly in the lush marsh grass. After them, from the same water, rise 7 other cows, gaunt, hollow-flanked, harsh to look upon. These thin, ugly cows take their stand beside the fat ones on the riverbank. Then the lean devour the plump. Yet even after swallowing them, they look no better, still as hideous and starved as before. Pharaoh wakes. He sleeps again and dreams a second time. On one stalk he sees 7 ears of grain, full, plump, and good. After them sprout 7 other ears, thin, blasted by the east wind, withered and light. The 7 thin ears swallow the 7 full ears. Pharaoh wakes a second time, and behold, it was a dream. Morning comes, and his spirit is agitated. He summons all the sacred scribes of Egypt and all the wise men and relates both dreams, but no one can unravel them for him. Then the chief cupbearer speaks up and confesses his neglect. "Today I remember my faults. When Pharaoh was angry with his servants, he placed me and the chief baker under guard in the house of the chief of the bodyguard. We each dreamed in one night, each according to the interpretation of his dream. With us was a Hebrew lad, a servant of the chief of the bodyguard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them, each man according to his dream. And it came to pass exactly as he said. I was restored to my post, the baker was hanged." Pharaoh immediately sends and calls for Joseph. They hurriedly bring him up from the confinement. He shaves, changes his garments, and is escorted into Pharaoh's presence. Pharaoh says, "I have dreamed a dream, and there is no one to interpret it. I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret." Joseph answers with humility, "It is not in me. Elohim shall answer for the well-being of Pharaoh." Pharaoh recounts the matter in full. "Behold, I stood on the river's edge. 7 cows, plump of flesh and lovely of shape, came up and grazed in the marsh grass. After them came 7 other cows, poor, very ugly, and scrawny. Never have I seen such ugliness in all the land of Egypt. The scrawny cows ate the first 7 plump cows, and when they had swallowed them, it could not be told that they had done so. They remained as ugly as at the start. Then I awoke. Again I slept, and saw 7 ears on one stalk, full and good. And after them, 7 ears, thin and blasted by the east wind, sprouted. The thin ears swallowed the 7 good ears. I told this to my scribes, but there was no one who could unravel it."
Joseph speaks. The dream of Pharaoh is one. What Elohim is about to do, he has shown Pharaoh. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. It is one and the same word. The 7 scrawny and ugly cows that come up after them are 7 years, and the 7 thin ears blasted by the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing I have spoken to Pharaoh. What Elohim is about to do, he has shown Pharaoh. Behold, 7 years are coming of great plenty in all the land of Egypt. After them 7 years of famine will arise, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land. The famine will consume the land, and the former abundance will not be remembered, because the famine that follows will be exceedingly heavy. As for the repetition of the dream,
twice to Pharaoh, this means the matter is established by Elohim, and Elohim will hasten to do it.
Now let Pharaoh look out for a man understanding and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh appoint overseers over the land, and take a fifth of the produce of Egypt during the 7 years of plenty. Let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming, and heap up grain under Pharaoh's hand, food for the cities, and let them guard it. That food shall be for a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that will be in Egypt, so that the land may not be cut off in the famine. The proposal is good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his officials. Pharaoh says to his servants, "Shall we find a man like this, in whom is the spirit of Elohim?" He turns to Joseph. "Since Elohim has made all this known to you, there is none as understanding and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and at your mouth all my people shall order themselves. Only in the throne will I be greater than you. See, I have set you this day over all the land of Egypt." Pharaoh removes the signet ring from his hand and places it on Joseph's hand. He clothes him in garments of fine cambric and places a gold chain about his neck. He has him ride in the second chariot that he has, and before him they cry, "Attention!" Thus Pharaoh sets him over all the land. He declares, "I am Pharaoh, yet without you no man shall lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt." Pharaoh calls Joseph's name Zaphenath-Paneah, and gives him Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, as a wife. Joseph goes out over the land of Egypt to begin his charge. Joseph is 30 years old when he stands before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He travels throughout the land. In the 7 years of plenty, the earth yields in overflowing measure. Joseph gathers all the food of those 7 years which come to be in Egypt, and stores the food in the cities. The food from the fields surrounding each city he lays up within it. He heaps grain in very great quantity, like the sand of the sea, until he stops counting, for there is no more number. Before the year of famine arrives, 2 sons are born to Joseph by Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. Joseph names the firstborn Manasseh, saying, "For Elohim has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house." He names the second Ephraim, saying, "For Elohim has made me fruitful in the land of my humiliation." Then the 7 years of plenty, which are in the land of Egypt, come to an end, and the 7 years of famine begin, just as Joseph had said. There is famine in all lands, but in all Egypt there is bread. When the whole land of Egypt is famished, the people cry to Pharaoh for bread, and Pharaoh says to all Egypt, "Go to Joseph. What he says to you, do." Joseph opens all that is in the storehouses and rations grain to the Egyptians, for the famine grows severe in the land. The dearth is over the face of the whole earth, and from every land people come to Egypt, to Joseph, to purchase grain, because the famine holds fast in all the earth.
The famine weighed heavily on the land of Canaan. Jacob, perceiving that there was grain to be had in Egypt, said to his sons, "Why are you standing here staring at one another? Behold, I have heard there are rations in Egypt. Go down there and purchase for us a supply, that we may live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to Egypt to buy grain. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with them, for he feared lest mishap befall him. Thus the sons of Israel came among the crowds of others who journeyed to Egypt, for famine was in Canaan also. Now Joseph himself was the governor over the land. He it was who sold grain to all the people. When his brothers arrived, they bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. Joseph saw them and recognized them, but he concealed his identity and spoke harshly to them.
"From where have you come?" he demanded. They answered, "From the land of Canaan, to buy
Food. Though Joseph knew them, they did not recognize him. At that moment, Joseph remembered the dreams he had dreamed concerning them, and he said, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land." They replied, "No, my lord. Your servants have come only to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are forthright men. Never have your servants been spies." But Joseph pressed them. "No, it is the nakedness of the land you have come to see." They said, "We were 12 brothers, sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is with our father to this day, and he is no more." Joseph answered, "It is just as I told you. You are spies. By this you shall be tested. As Pharaoh lives, you shall not go free unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you to fetch your brother, but the rest shall be bound. Thus your words will be proved, whether there is truth in you. But if not, as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." And with that, he placed them under guard for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, "Do this and live, for I fear Elohim.
If you are indeed honest men, let one of your brothers remain bound in your prison, but the rest may go and carry grain for the hunger of your households. Only you must bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified, and you shall not die." They consented. Then they said one to another, "Truly we are guilty concerning our brother. We saw the distress of his soul when he begged us, and we did not listen. Therefore this distress has come upon us." Reuben answered them, "Did I not tell you, do not sin against the boy? But you would not listen, and now behold, his blood is required of us." They did not know that Joseph understood, for he had spoken with them through an interpreter. Joseph turned away from them and wept. Then he returned, took Simeon from them, and had him bound before their eyes. Joseph commanded that their sacks be filled with grain, that each man's money be returned secretly to his sack, and that provisions for their journey be given to them. All was done according to his word. So they loaded their donkeys with grain and departed. At the lodging place, one opened his sack to give fodder to his donkey, and there in the mouth of the sack was his money. He said to his brothers, "My money has been restored. Here it is in my sack." At this, their hearts sank, and they trembled, saying to one another, "What is this that Elohim has done to us?" When they came to Jacob their father in Canaan, they told him all that had happened. The man, lord of the land, spoke harshly with us and treated us as spies. But we said to him, "We are honest men, not spies. We were 12 brothers, sons of one man. One is no more, and the youngest is with our father this day in Canaan." Then the lord of the land said to us, "By this I shall know that you are honest. Leave one of your brothers with me. Take grain for your households and go. But bring your youngest brother to me. Then I shall know you are not spies, but honest men. I will release your brother to you, and you shall trade in the land." As they emptied their sacks, behold, each man's bundle of money was in his sack. When they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. Jacob said to them, "You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more, Simeon is no more, and now you would take Benjamin. All these things are against me." Reuben spoke to his father, "You may put my 2 sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him to my care, and I will restore him to you." But Jacob said, "My son shall not go down with you. His brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm should befall him on the journey, then you would bring down my gray hairs in sorrow to the grave." Thus the matter was left unresolved, and Jacob's heart clung to Benjamin, even as famine pressed harder on the land. The famine was heavy in the land. When they had consumed the grain rations they had brought from Egypt, their father said to them, "Return, buy us a little food." Judah spoke to him, saying, "The man who is Lord of the land solemnly warned us, 'You shall not see my face unless your youngest brother is with you.' If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy food. But if you will not send him, we will not go." For the man said, "You shall not see my face unless your youngest brother is with you." Israel replied, "Why did you bring this evil on me by telling the man you had another brother?" They answered, "The man questioned us carefully about ourselves and our family. Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother?" We answered according to these words. How could we know he would say, "Bring your brother down"? Judah said again to his father Israel, "Send the lad with me. Let us arise and go, that we may live and not die. We, you, and our little ones. I will be surety for him. From my hand you may demand him. If I do not bring him back and set him before you, I shall bear the blame before you all my days. If we had not delayed, we could already have returned twice." Then Israel their father said, "If it must be so, then do this. Take some of the best produce of the land in your vessels, and carry down to the man a gift: balm, a little honey, gum, labdanum, pistachios, and almonds. Take double the money with you, and also the money that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. Perhaps it was an error. Take also your brother. Arise, and return to the man. And may El Shaddai grant you mercy before the man, that he may release your other brother and Benjamin. But as for me, if I am bereaved, I am bereaved." So the men took the gift, double the money, and Benjamin. They went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, "Bring the men into the house, slaughter an animal and prepare it, for the men shall dine with me at noon." The steward did as Joseph said and brought the men into Joseph's house. The brothers were afraid, saying to one another, "It is because of the money returned in our sacks at the first that we are brought in, that he may find occasion against us, fall upon us, and take us for slaves with our donkeys." So they approached the steward at the entrance of the house and said, "Oh, my lord, we came down before to buy food. When we came to the lodging place and opened our sacks, behold, each man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. We have brought it back with us, and we have brought other money in our hand to buy food. We do not know who put our money in our sacks." The steward replied, "Peace be to you. Do not fear. Your Elohim and the Elohim of your fathers has given you treasure in your sacks. Your money came to me, and he brought Simeon out to them." The man brought them into Joseph's house, gave them water, and they washed their feet. He provided fodder for their donkeys. They prepared their gift before Joseph came at noon, for they had heard they were to dine there. When Joseph came home, they brought him the gift they had carried and bowed to the ground before him. He asked about their welfare and said, "Is your aged father well, of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" They answered, "Your servant, our father, is well. He is still alive." Then they bowed their heads and prostrated themselves. Joseph lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, "Is this your youngest brother, of whom you spoke to me? May Elohim be gracious to you, my son." Joseph hurried away, for his compassion for his brother burned within him, and he sought a place to weep. He entered his chamber
and wept there. Then he washed his face, controlled himself, and said, "Serve the food." They served him separately, them separately, and the Egyptians separately. For Egyptians could not eat bread with Hebrews, for it was an abomination to them. They sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked at one another in astonishment. He took portions for them from his own table, but Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs. They feasted and drank freely with him. Joseph, still concealing his identity,
now prepared the final test. He gave instructions to the steward of his house. Fill the men's bags with as much food as they can carry. Place each man's silver back in the mouth of his sack, and in the sack of the youngest. Put also my cup, the silver beaker, together with the money for his grain. The steward did exactly as Joseph commanded. At morning's light, the brothers were sent away with their donkeys. They had not gone far from the city when Joseph said to his steward, "Go after the men at once. When you overtake them, say, 'Why have you repaid good with evil? Is this not the cup my master drinks from, the one by which he practices augury? You have done evil in what you have done.'" The steward overtook them and repeated these words. The brothers were aghast and said, "Why does my lord speak such words? Far be it from your servants to do such a thing. Look, money we found in our sacks before, we brought back to you from Canaan. How then could we steal silver or gold from your master's house? Whichever of your servants is found with the cup shall die, and the rest of us will become my lord's slaves." The steward replied, "Let it be as you say. Yet only the one with whom the cup is found shall be my slave. The rest of you shall go free." Hurriedly, each man lowered his sack to the ground and opened it. The search began with the eldest and ended with the youngest. And there it was, the silver beaker in Benjamin's sack. At this, they tore their garments in grief, reloaded their donkeys, and returned to the city. When Judah and his brothers came back to Joseph's house, Joseph was still there. They fell to the ground before him. Joseph said, "What deed is this you have done? Did you not know that a man such as I can indeed practice divination?" Judah answered, "What can we say to my lord? What can we speak? How can we justify ourselves? Elohim has uncovered the guilt of your servants. Here we are, my lord's slaves, both we and the one in whose hand the cup was found." But Joseph said, "Far be it from me to do this. Only the man in whose possession the cup was found shall be my slave. The rest of you, go back in peace to your father." Then Judah drew near and spoke with fervor. "O my lord, please let your servant speak a word in my lord's ears, and let not your anger burn against your servant. For you are as Pharaoh himself." My lord asked his servants, "Do you have a father or a brother?" We said, "We have an aged father and a young son born to him in his old age. His brother is dead. He alone is left of his mother, and his father loves him. You said to us, 'Bring him down to me, that I may see him with my eyes.' We said, 'The boy cannot leave his father. If he leaves, his father will die.' But you said, 'If your youngest brother does not come with you, you shall not see my face again.' When we went back to our father, we told him your words. Later, our father said, 'Go again, buy us a little food.' But we said, 'We cannot go down unless our youngest brother is with us. We cannot see the man's face unless he is with us.' Then my father said, 'You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One went out from me, and I said, "Surely he is torn to pieces," and I have not seen him since. If you take this one also from me, and harm befalls him, you will bring down my gray hairs in sorrow to the grave. So now, if I go to my father, and the lad is not with us, since his life is bound up with the lad's life. When he sees the lad is not with us, he will die. Your servants will bring the gray hairs of our father down with sorrow to the grave. For I became surety for the lad to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back, then I shall bear the blame before my father all my days. Now therefore, please let your servant remain as a slave to my lord in place of the lad, and let the lad go up with his brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest I see the evil that would befall my father? At last, Joseph could no longer restrain himself before all who stood by. The weight of years, of silence, of hidden tears and unspoken truth broke within him. He cried out, his voice echoing through the hall, "'Cause every man to go out from me." The Egyptian attendants, startled, withdrew until Joseph was left alone with his brothers. No one else remained when he made himself known to them. Then he lifted his voice in such lamentation that the sound carried beyond the walls. The Egyptians heard it, and the news reached Pharaoh's household. Joseph was weeping aloud. Joseph turned to his brothers and said the words that shook them to their core. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him. Their faces were stricken, their hearts seized with fear, for they were dismayed in his presence. Joseph beckoned, "Come near to me, I pray you." They drew close, hesitant, trembling, and Joseph said, "I am Joseph your brother, the one you sold into Egypt. But do not grieve, and do not be angry with yourselves that you sold me here. For Elohim sent me ahead of you to preserve life. For 2 years now, famine has ravaged the land, and there will be 5 more years with neither plowing nor harvest. But Elohim sent me ahead to preserve for you a remnant on the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then, it was not you who sent me here, but Elohim. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of all his household, and ruler over all the land of Egypt." Joseph's eyes filled again with tears, but now they were tears of mercy. "Make haste," he urged. "Go up to my father and say to him, 'Thus says your son Joseph, Elohim has made me lord over all Egypt. Come down to me, do not delay. You shall live in the land of Goshen near me, you, your children, your children's children, your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. There I will provide for you, for there are yet 5 more years of famine, lest you and your household and all you have fall into destitution. Behold, your eyes see, and so does the eye of Benjamin my brother, that it is truly my mouth speaking to you. Tell my father of all my honor in Egypt, of all that you have seen. Hurry, bring my father down here." Then Joseph could no longer restrain his embrace. He fell upon the neck of Benjamin, his full brother, and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. He kissed all his brothers and wept over them, and afterward they finally found their tongues and spoke with him. The sound of this reunion spread quickly, and Pharaoh's house was told, "Joseph's brothers have come." It pleased Pharaoh and his officials. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Say to your brothers, 'Do this. Load your beasts, go back to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your households to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you shall eat of the fat of the land. Take wagons from Egypt for your little ones and your wives. Bring your father and come. Do not be concerned about your possessions, for the best of Egypt is yours." The sons of Israel did as commanded. Joseph gave them wagons according to Pharaoh's order and provisions for the journey. To each he gave a change of garments, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 changes of garments. To his father he sent 10 donkeys laden with the best of Egypt's goods, and 10 she-donkeys carrying grain, bread, and food for the journey. He dismissed his brothers, and as they departed, he said, "Do not quarrel on the way." They went up from Egypt to Canaan and came to their father Jacob. They told him, "Joseph is still alive, and he is ruler over all the land of Egypt." Jacob's heart was numb. He could not believe them. But when they repeated all Joseph's words, and when he saw the wagons Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob revived. And Israel said, "Enough! Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." Now an old man, yet still guided by faith, gathered all that belonged to him and set out with his household toward Egypt. When he reached Beersheba, he offered sacrifices to the Elohim of his father Isaac, and in the night Elohim appeared to him in visions, calling him twice by name. "Jacob, Jacob." He answered, "Here I am." And Elohim spoke words of reassurance, declaring, "I am El, the Elohim of your father. Do not fear to go down into Egypt, for there I will make you into a great nation. I myself will go down with you, and I myself will surely bring you up again, and Joseph will lay his hand upon your eyes." Thus, strengthened by this divine promise, Jacob rose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried their father, their wives, and their children in the carts that Pharaoh had sent. They brought their herds, their livestock, and all their possessions gained in the land of Canaan. And they descended into Egypt, Jacob with all his offspring, his sons and grandsons, his daughters and granddaughters, every soul belonging to his house. The writer pauses to record the names of those who came into Egypt with Jacob. From Leah were born Reuben, the firstborn, with his sons Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon with his sons Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. Levi with his sons Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Judah with his sons Shelah, Perez, and Zerah, though Er and Onan had died in Canaan. And from Perez came Hezron and Hamul. Issachar with his sons Tola, Puvah, Job, and Shimron. Zebulun with his sons Sered, Elon, and Jaleel. These were the sons of Leah, including Dinah their sister, numbering 33 souls. From Zilpah, Leah's handmaid given by Laban, came Gad with his sons Ziphion, Hagi, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Arodi, and Areli, and Asher with his sons Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, and Beriah, and their sister Sarah. The sons of Beriah were Heber and Malchiel, making 16 in all. From Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, came Joseph and Benjamin. To Joseph in Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. Benjamin's sons were Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppim, Huppim, and Ard. These children of Rachel numbered 14 souls. From Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, came Dan with his son Hushim, and Naphtali, with his sons Jahzeel, Guni, Jezer, and Shillem, 7 in all. Altogether, the household of Jacob, who came into Egypt, excluding the wives of his sons, were 66 souls. And with Joseph's 2 sons already born in Egypt, the total became 70, completing the company of Israel. Jacob sent Judah ahead to Joseph to prepare the way into Goshen. And when they arrived there, Joseph harnessed his chariot and went up to meet his father. At the sight of him, Joseph fell upon his father's neck and wept long. And Israel, overwhelmed yet content, said, "Now I am ready to die, since I have seen your face and know that you are still alive." Afterward, Joseph spoke to his brothers and his father's household, telling them that he would go before Pharaoh and declare that his family had come from Canaan, men who were shepherds from youth until now, bringing with them their flocks, herds, and all their possessions. He instructed them carefully, that when Pharaoh inquired of their occupation, they should answer that they were keepers of livestock, so that they might dwell apart in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd was considered an abomination to the Egyptians. Thus, under the promise of Yahweh and the wise guidance of Joseph, Israel and all his house descended into Egypt, where the covenant people would be preserved, tested, and multiplied according to the words sworn to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Joseph went in before Pharaoh and spoke of his father and his brothers, of their flocks, their herds, and all that they had brought with them from Canaan. And he told Pharaoh that they were now in Goshen. From among his brothers he chose 5 and set them before the king. When Pharaoh asked them their occupation, they answered that they were shepherds, as their fathers had been, and they begged permission to dwell in Goshen, for the famine was severe in Canaan, and there was no pasture for their flocks. Pharaoh, hearing this, confirmed the matter to Joseph, saying that the land of Egypt lay before him, and that the best of it, even Goshen, should be given for their dwelling. Moreover, if capable men were found among them, they might be appointed to oversee Pharaoh's own livestock. Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob, and Jacob stood before Pharaoh and blessed him. Pharaoh asked Jacob the length of his years, and Jacob answered that the days of his sojournings were 130, few and troubled compared to the long lives of his fathers. He blessed Pharaoh again and departed from his presence. Joseph gave his father and brothers a possession in the best of the land, in the region called Ramesses, according to Pharaoh's command. He sustained his father, his brothers, and all his father's household with bread according to the number of their little ones. Yet the famine pressed sorely on Egypt and Canaan, and all the people languished. Joseph gathered all the money of the land in exchange for grain and brought it into Pharaoh's house. When the money was gone, the Egyptians came crying for bread, and Joseph told them to bring their livestock. They brought their horses, sheep, cattle, and donkeys, and Joseph sustained them with food that year in exchange. When that year ended, they came again and said that nothing remained but their bodies and their land. They pleaded to be purchased for bread, lest both they and their fields perish. So Joseph acquired all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, and every man sold his field because of the famine. The land thus became Pharaoh's, and the people were resettled in cities from one end of Egypt to the other. Only the land of the priests Joseph did not buy, for they had an allowance from Pharaoh and lived on it. Joseph then said to the people, "I have bought you and your land for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you. Sow the ground. At harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be yours for seed, food for yourselves, your households, and your children." They answered with gratitude, saying, "You have saved our lives. May we find favor in your sight, and we will be servants to Pharaoh." Thus Joseph established it as a statute in Egypt that 1/5 of the produce belonged to Pharaoh, except for the land of the priests, which did not become Pharaoh's. Israel dwelt in Goshen, gained possessions there, were fruitful, and multiplied greatly. Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years, and his days came to a total of 147 years. As his time drew near, he called Joseph and made him swear with an oath under his thigh that he would not bury him in Egypt, but would carry him back to lie with his fathers. Joseph swore, and Israel bowed himself upon the head of his couch in worship, resting in faith that the promise of Elohim endured. When Joseph was told that his father He blessed Joseph, calling upon the God before whom Abraham and Isaac had walked, the God who had shepherded him all his life, and the angel who had redeemed him from all evil, to bless the lads, that his name and the names of his fathers might rest upon them, and that they might grow into a multitude upon the earth. Joseph, displeased that his father placed his right hand on Ephraim, tried to correct him, urging him to give the honor to Manasseh, the firstborn. But Jacob refused, declaring that both would be great, yet the younger would surpass the elder, and his seed would become a fullness of nations. Thus he set Ephraim before Manasseh. On that day he spoke a blessing, saying that Israel would use their names in blessing. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Then Israel told Joseph that he was near death, but God would be with him and bring him back to the land of his fathers. He granted Joseph a special portion above his brothers, a mountain slope taken from the Amorites by his sword and bow. When the time drew near for his departure, Jacob summoned his sons to his side, calling them together that he might speak over them what would befall them in days to come. His voice carried both the weight of blessing and the sharpness of judgment, for in his words were prophecy and truth. To Reuben, his firstborn, Jacob recalled the vigor of his youth, the strength and dignity that should have been his inheritance. Yet he spoke with sorrow, declaring that Reuben would not excel, for his instability had ruined him, and his father's bed had been defiled. Simeon and Levi were addressed together, bound by their violent deed at Shechem. Their anger had been fierce, their wrath cruel, and for this they would be scattered and divided in Israel. Then Jacob turned to Judah, and his tone shifted to honor and promise. Judah would be praised by his brothers, victorious over his enemies, and like a lion, none would dare to rouse. From him the scepter would not depart, nor the ruler's staff, until the one to whom it belongs should come, and to him would be the obedience of the peoples. In vivid imagery, Jacob spoke of abundance and majesty, of eyes darkened with wine and teeth white as milk. Zebulun would dwell by the sea and serve as a haven for ships, his border stretching toward Sidon. Issachar was likened to a strong donkey, bearing burdens and choosing service when he saw that rest and land were good. Dan would judge his people, yet he would also be like a serpent lying in wait, striking the horse's heels so that its rider fell backward. In the midst of this, Jacob cried out in a sudden prayer, "For your salvation, O Yahweh, I wait." Gad would be pressed by raiders, but would in the end triumph and pursue. Asher's land would yield rich food, fit even for kings. Naphtali was described as a free doe, bringing forth beautiful words. To Joseph, Jacob poured out the richest blessing. He was like a fruitful bough by a spring, climbing high despite the bitterness of his foes. His strength had remained firm because the mighty one of Jacob had upheld him, the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Blessings of heaven above and of the deep below, blessings of fertility and abundance, would rest upon him, surpassing even the blessings of Jacob's forefathers. These would crown the head of Joseph, set apart from his brothers. Finally, to Benjamin, Jacob declared that he would be like a ravenous wolf, devouring prey in the morning and dividing spoil in the evening. Thus Jacob spoke to each of his sons, giving to each a word suited to his destiny, forming the legacy of the 12 tribes of Israel. When he had finished blessing them, Jacob gave his final command, that he be buried with his fathers in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, the burial place of Abraham and Sarah, of Isaac and Rebekah, and of Leah. Having spoken, he drew his feet onto the couch, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Joseph fell upon his father's face and wept bitterly, kissing him in love. Israel was embalmed by the physicians, And for 70 days Egypt mourned him. With Pharaoh's permission, Joseph led a great procession of his brothers, their households, and many Egyptians to Canaan, where they buried Jacob in the cave of Machpelah, beside Abraham and Isaac. The mourning was so deep that the Canaanites called the place Abel Mizraim, the mourning of Egypt. When the family returned to Egypt, Joseph's brothers, still haunted by guilt, feared he would repay them for their cruelty. They sent word, recalling their father's plea for forgiveness, and then came themselves, falling before Joseph in submission. But Joseph comforted them, saying, "Do not fear. You meant evil against me, but Elohim intended it for good, to preserve many lives." In this, Joseph reassured them that he would provide for them and their children. Joseph remained in Egypt with his family, living to 110 years, long enough to see his descendants to the third generation. As his death approached, he reminded his brothers of the covenant sworn by Elohim to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would surely visit his people and bring them up out of Egypt to the land he had promised. Joseph bound the sons of Israel with an oath to carry his bones with them when that day came. After his death, he was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt, awaiting the day of deliverance. And so the book of Genesis closes, not with the fulfillment of the promise, but with hope rooted in covenant, looking forward to the greater story yet to unfold. In the future, as the book of Exodus opens, we will see Israel's descendants multiply, rise, and eventually face oppression under Pharaoh. Yet out of bondage, Yahweh will raise a deliverer, and his mighty hand will lead his people toward the land he swore to give their fathers. If you've enjoyed this journey through Genesis, don't forget to hit the like button and share this with friends and family who might be interested in exploring these timeless stories. And join us next time as we begin the story of Exodus, the great deliverance of Israel. See you in the next video.